What's going on, coaches? It's Ethan. Today's video we're going to be talking about a pretty controversial topic, which is going to be whether or not you actually need a tennis coaching certificate to start coaching players. Now, this is a pretty controversial topic. There's always coaches that are battling against each other, proving why they need their certificate to start teaching players. And then there's other people who have built perfectly fine coaching businesses without certificates, and they're trying to prove their point that you don't need a certificate to start coaching athletes. So make sure you guys watch the whole video. We're going to be breaking it down for you guys, and hopefully it's going to make your decision to get a coaching certificate or not a lot easier. So without further ado, guys, let's get into the video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to join the free Facebook group, link in the bio below, and let's get into it. Alright, coaches, so let's get straight into this video. To answer this question, we actually have to ask ourselves, what is our intention for this certificate? If your intention is to get the certificate and go work for some club, then in some countries you're going to be required to actually have this certificate to apply for these jobs. And in other countries you don't really need a certificate, but you can still apply for these jobs if you have coaching experience. However, legally speaking, you actually don't need a tennis coaching certificate to start holding your own private lessons anywhere in the world, which is great news. With that being said, let's get into some of the pros and cons of either having or not having a tennis coaching certificate. So first up on the pros is going to be insurance. All right. When you get a tennis coaching certificate, it's going to come with included insurance and a liability plan that you'll be covered. All right. So if you get a tennis coaching certificate, then this is already going to be included with your annual dues for the certificate. And certificates like PTR and USPTA, they offer coverage up to $6 million for any injuries that happen on court during practices or anything. Now again, the liability coverage varies from different certificates that you can get. There's elite certificates all the way down to basic certificates, so the coverage is going to vary. And then you can even add on insurance as an extra on top of your annual fees for a little extra amount, but it will be a higher liability coverage. Then another pro for obtaining your certificate would be authenticity. Getting your certificate will make it easier for you to start attracting clients because it gives you that authority figure, right? Having your certificate, it proves to your students that you've gone through training to be a coach and that you're certified to start teaching them and helping them get better at tennis. So authenticity is another pro. And then the last pro I have for getting your certificate is the workshops that the certificate providers are providing you with. You're gonna get a bunch of in-depth training on how to coach players and how to help them grow into better players. So their PTR and USPTA do a really good job of offering trainings to get you through on how to actually coach clients. But there's a lot more that goes into running a tennis coaching business than just being able to coach your clients and get them the results that they want. Now that we've talked about some of the pros about having a coaching certificate, let's get into some of the cons. Right now, the first con that I have is going to be an upfront commitment. Right, when you get this certificate, you're going to need to be paying upfront. Fees for certificates can range anywhere from $100 to $400. And these are annual fees, guys, meaning you're going to have to pay for them every year to retain your certificate. So that is one con about it, is you're going to have to make an upfront commitment and actually commit to being a coach and using the certificate to make that investment back. Now, another con about having a tennis coaching certificate is that it's actually not even required to start teaching. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be a con, but for people who are getting their certificates, it's almost kind of not fair because it's not really even required to start tennis coaching. Now, the way I look at it is chiropractors and doctors, they go through years of training and practice to actually get certificates until they're able to work with their clients and help them, right? So it kind of feels unfair to coaches who go through the process of getting their certificates to start helping their clients when it's actually not even required. They can put in just as much work to get the certificates and get the qualifications, but the truth of the matter is you don't need them. They can put as much work in to get those certificates and start a business and get the same results as somebody who's already started the business without a certificate. And those two people, someone with a certificate and without a certificate, they both can get the same results. The certification doesn't mean that clients have to pay you more. And because of that, I feel like it's kind of unfair that having a certificate is not really required to teach tennis. So that's kind of why I lean towards not really getting a certificate, because it's not really required. You know, what does it actually do besides teach you and give you authenticity? And those authenticity and those things can be brought from other areas and actually make you look like an authoritative figure. So it doesn't really seem like a requirement to me. And the next con I have for the certificate are the renewal fees. Once you commit to getting a certificate and start paying those fees, you're gonna have to keep paying these annual fees year in and year out to retain your certificate. So now that we've talked about some of the pros and cons of having a certificate, let's get into some of the pros and cons of actually not having a certificate. First pro we're going to be talking about not having a certificate is going to be the legality of it. The best part is it's perfectly legal to start coaching players at a tennis court near you without a certificate, and it's completely legal, which is awesome. The next pro is there's no upfront commitment. You can get into tennis coaching and there's really not a lot of fees involved. The biggest fee involved, if you watched one of my other videos, would be the tennis coaching certificate. So without this, it creates a low barrier of entry for plenty of players who are thinking about being coaches or other club coaches who want to start their own practices. It's a low barrier of entry, and that's why not having a certificate can actually help some people and help save money when they're starting out. And the next pro is going to be there's no renewal fees. And I know it kind of seems redundant, but I have to say it for you guys that if you don't commit to this, then you won't be paying year in and year out, and you won't be paying upfront fees for certifications. They're not required, guys. So I mean, if you can build a solid tennis coaching business without those certifications, then you can remove those expenses from your business, which will help you keep more of the profits. And the last pro for not having a tennis coaching certificate is that it's a non-necessity, guys. I mean, think about it. When was the last time that you went to a practice and actually asked your coach to see their certifications? Certifications are great, guys, but who's really asking? You don't go to the doctor's office and say, hey, can I see your degree, your 8-year that took you 8 years to get, or a chiropractor, can I see your chiropractic certificate? I mean, certifications are great, but I mean, nobody really cares about the certification as long as you can get them the results that they want, which is why not having a certificate can be so great. If you can get clients the results that they want, then they don't really care if you have a certificate or not. They just want to get better, or they just want those results that you're offering them. So having a certificate is not really gonna make or break you as a tennis coach. Now let's get into some of the cons about not having a coaching certificate. The first thing that I have is gonna be no insurance. Now this can be a little scary, guys, not having any insurance and running lessons, not having a certificate or any liability. But don't worry, there's a really easy workaround. You can just pay for sports insurance. And I mean, I've done some research for you guys, and typical insurance for tennis, it's a really low risk sport, so which means it's actually the cheapest sports insurance offered, and it can be up to $300 a year. And this covers up to $2 million of liability, which keeps you covered. I always recommend that, is that if you do choose the no certificate route, that you do pick up some insurance just to have that peace of mind in case anything happens. I mean, we all know the day and age we live in, that anything can happen these days. And then the last con I have for not having a certificate is gonna be authenticity. Now, I said this earlier, but if you can get your students to where they want to go, then they don't care if you have a certificate. I can 100% guarantee you, if you can get them the results that your clients want, then they don't care if you have a piece of paper that certifies you're a tennis coach. I have authenticity as a con because you won't be able to use a certificate and leverage that when you're advertising to get more clients in through the door. But this can be easily avoided, guys. There's a bunch of other ways you can build authenticity. One of the main ways being social proof. Do you have other clients who've already been through your practices and they've gotten better and gotten to where they wanted to be? You just need to record those moments and those testimonials and for others to see, and that's enough for people to believe, to see somebody else in their shoes going through your program and getting the results that they desire, and that's enough. But I do have authenticity as a con for not having your certificate, but it's really not gonna make or break you. You can definitely do without the certificate. Now, with the pros and cons for having and not having a certificate all talked about, I'm gonna talk about what I personally think. And I personally think you don't need a tennis coaching certificate to start your own coaching business. And I say this because it's not gonna hold you back. You can start helping people for free in the beginning just if you wanna see that you can actually help people. And if people are responding good and they actually like what you have to offer, then by all means go for it and start coaching people. I personally really don't think it's necessary to have a tennis coaching certificate. I personally do, but I'm much further along in my journey of tennis coaching. But I picked that up to increase my authority and my credibility. But honestly, in the beginning, when you're just starting out, you really don't need a tennis coaching certificate. Just go ahead and start. Make sure you pick up the insurance. I do highly recommend you have insurance at all times being on the court, just because you never know what can happen. But as your business grows and you get bigger, then it might not be a bad idea picking up the certificate just for the authenticity factor, just to say you have it, and you can add that to your accolades. But just know that the tennis coaching certificate does not define you. Just because you have one doesn't mean you have the right to charge people more for your knowledge or your coaching techniques. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think about this topic in the comments below. I really know what you guys want to hear. I'm not trying to stir up any controversy or anything like that. I just honestly want to know what everyone thinks about this topic, since it is so controversial. So leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video, and comment and subscribe as always. And make sure you guys join the free Facebook group, link in the bio. I'd really appreciate it if you do. And it's really just for your benefit, to help for you to be there with other like-minded coaches who are struggling and need help. It's really just a great environment. So with that said, that's all from me, guys. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.